Come to the show. We about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Come to the show. We about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it, chop it, chop it, chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it, chop it, chop it up. Chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about.
You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop with your host, Pastor Marvin McKenstry Jr. Let's chop it up.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, y'all. Like, love, and share this broadcast. We're going to be having some conversations about what's happening in Baltimore that you definitely want to be tuned into. So like, love, and share, even tag people in the comments so that we can get the numbers up and get a good viewership to hear these conversations. But before we get to any of that, I got to bring on both my co-hosts. One, of course, first and foremost, my right hand and my left hand, my main man, Mr. Shaka Pitts on the ones and twos, always making the magic happen. Techniques 1200s, because anything else is uncivilized. Shock, what is it?
Hey, brother, how you doing, man? It's almost the end of the week, man. I'm all right.
I need my do the bike thing hat, brother.
Oh, you need one of these, brother? I got you.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
And as always, we got with us the queen of the chop shop, the one and only Miss Hot Take herself, Lady Lisha. What's up, Lady Lisha?
Not much. I'm chilling, trying to enjoy the last little bit of this warm weather before it turns. And we be all looking like Moesha out here. All these chicks get their Moesha gear on for the fall.
I got my moon boots in the back ready. Come all the way up to my calves, y'all. I ain't playing.
Listen, I'm already rocking hoodies. I'm already rocking the hoodies, man. Y'all got me messed up.
Yeah,
I'm already in the hoodie.
And look, this is what my grandmother, when we was young, used to call pneumonia weather.
Yeah, yo.
Weather
or some people say ammonia.
Ammonia.
You'll catch ammonia.
Right, trip you right up. You be went out here dressed for one season and a whole nother season catch you.
Me too.
Well, they catch your death. You'll catch your death.
Absolutely. Let's get to these church announcements, man, because I want to make sure we got ample time for these conversations. We always start off with the Stop the Beef Hotline initiative of the We, Our, Us Men's movement. Men 10K Power Unity Engagement, y'all. It's all about bringing love together. The Stop the Beef Hotline has no police involvement. And what we do is we come and do whatever level of intervention is needed to make sure that life is preserved. Call 443-431-3705 or 443-522-7848. A man will answer, and the brotherhood will come out walking hand in hand with the Stop the Beef Hotline. Is the Baltimore Peace Agreement. Y'all, this is the proactive approach where we want to come around to the communities. It's a 10-point plan that was made up by brothers who used to be in the street, brothers behind the walls, and brothers who are out here to care. That's saying even if you got to eat in the street, you ain't got to die killing the street. So if we have not been to you, call that same 443-431-3705 or go to the website and get the Baltimore Peace Agreement to your community. The Mayor's Office of Employment Development. Y'all know I've been there for 21 years now. Y'all, the Employee Baltimore show, it was on today. I was laughing at myself because we have done some pre-recording, but it's still a place for up-to-the-minute employment information. Make sure that you tune in Thursdays at 2, because if you're looking for an opportunity, the Mayor's Office of Employment Development is looking for you. All right, y'all, join us Sundays. This Sunday going to be a special Sunday. We're going to get to the flyers, but join us Sundays every Sunday at 1063 West Fayette Street down in Southwest Baltimore, y'all. It's not quite South, but they dubbed us Southwest Baltimore for worship, man. We are having a great time watching what the Lord is doing at Victory House Worship Center. So come through and be blessed. Victory Now, the Victory Now podcast, y'all. I'm pulling the pieces together. I'm about this close to a commitment for a guy who I believe is the guy to be our first guest and kick this new initiative off. Y'all, you're not going to want to miss it. When it's going to broadcast and when it's going to air is going to be coming to you soon. So make sure that you catch a Victory Now podcast on both Facebook and YouTube. Pastor Marvin McKenstry, that's a nice looking guy right there. Listen, come down and celebrate with us tomorrow. We're going to be having Pastor's Appreciation. I got some friends coming through. Shock, I hope you might come down there, man. We got some friends coming through. It ain't going to be no peace preaching. It's going to be some good music, hopefully some words of encouragement, but knowing some of my guys, they might roast me in the process and tell some funny stories. But y'all, this is just the time to stop and, to receive a little appreciation from the people who God has blessed me to be a blessing to. So I hope you can come through. Then on Sunday, it's going to be an outpouring. It's going to be an outpouring. It's going to be an outpouring from my pastors. Pastors Antoine and Shelley Burton and the Changing Lives Ministry of Baltimore family is going to be in the building at 3 p.m. for our church anniversary. Y'all, the first Sunday in October every year, they come over and they pour. I get to sit back. I don't do nothing but receive from those who have covering in charge over me. Y'all make sure y'all come through and enjoy an amazing worship experience at our church anniversary. The City of Hope ribbon cutting is coming Sunday, October the 8th. My brother and my sisters, Pastor Andre and the kid Lance, are literally in Brooklyn in response, God's response to what's been going on out there, planting their feet right where there's a need. So y'all join us out there Sunday, October 8th, 2023, 3:30 p.m. We're going to be in the building celebrating with my brother at the City of Hope ribbon cutting. Pasta and Paint, my other brother. Listen, Bishop Donnie Neal, y'all, has always been about a good work in ministry, but if anybody knows how to put a good event together, it is him and Lady Latoya Neal who is behind this one. So y'all, I need y'all to show up, support them. This is an initiative to be able to help offset the cost of ministry and some of the great community work they're doing in Essex. I will be in the building, so make sure you meet me there. Pasta, paint, and virgin drinks, y'all. It's going to be a nice time. Sunday service at my son's house over in East Baltimore. Pastor Cheo Thomas Jr. and Assistant Pastor Joyce Barksdale over at the New Commandment Church, founder and establishmentarian Apostle Ruth Johnson, my aunt whom I love. Join them there each Sunday at 2 p.m. for an incredible worship experience. If you're looking for a home and you over East, drop in on him. The young man of God is doing a great work for the kingdom. The Gathering Fall Revival. It's miracle time. It's miracle time. It's miracle time. The Power Partnership, the Brotherhood is coming together in fall. This is going to be a free conference. It's going to be a time to come and hear from the Lord and receive of God. Yours truly is going to be preaching on that Thursday night, the kickoff service. Then we're going to be followed up by Overseer M.D. Neal, Mr. Riverdance himself, and his lovely wife on Saturday, co-pastor Lisa Neal. So y'all make sure that you come on through, and we'll see you in Riverdale, Maryland. All right, y'all, we are doing our annual coat drive. We need you to bring your new and gently used coats, gloves, scarves, and hats and socks. Bring them as soon as you can. You can drop them on Sundays during or after our 10 a.m. service. You want to come in there while we're in service to be a blessing, come on in. Drop the coats, maybe catch a word. We want you to come so we can be a blessing to our community. You know, community is a passion for Victory House Worship Center, and we want to make sure that we can be in front of this winter and be able to help some people who may just need a little bit of help while they're helping themselves. All right, y'all, I've been dying and trying to get to this flyer, these two flyers. This Sunday morning, as they say, we are doing a thing. We are installing our first assistant pastor, really in the history of Victory Church. We never had one under my overseer, but we're going to have our first assistant pastor. She is the one and only, a part of this crew. Pastor-elect Lisha Gibson is going to be affirmed on Sunday morning as the assistant pastor of Victory House Worship Center. I'm so excited because, y'all, she's about a great work, and she has been a blessing since she's been in our ministry. On the same day, at the same time, Pastor-elect Darnetta Hagins is going to be affirmed as our executive pastor. Y'all, I'm so excited. These two women of God are about a blessed work to the kingdom of God, y'all. So stop on it if you ain't doing nothing Sunday morning and help to celebrate with them. All right, time to get to the conversations, y'all, that we have at hand. And tonight, y'all, we have 3 different topics that we're going to cover. Y'all know the Chop Shop. We keeping it moving. We doing what we do. But don't forget, at some point, we're going to post the link. If you out there and you want to be a part of the conversation, we want you to come on and listen, y'all. Unfortunately, Baltimore City has made the national news reels again. National news again. The flyer, shout out to this report coming from the New York Post. You've heard it locally, but this is from the New York Post. Students at 40% of Baltimore high schools failed the math proficiency exam. This has been dubbed as educational homicide. Y'all, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. we gotta have this conversation, y'all. Like, love, and share the broadcast. Get people in to this conversation that need to be here. 13 schools with zero proficiency, but the part that's not on that graphic is the fact that we have what's considered to be top 5 schools in Baltimore. That's City, Poly, Western, Dunbar, and Baltimore School for the Arts. 809 pupils combined in those schools. Only 92 students in the top 5 schools in Baltimore public school system tested proficient in math. Y'all, we got to have this conversation. I got to get the crew involved. Lady Lisha, I want to start with you because you're a mother. You're a homeschooler. You know, when the system wasn't working for yours, you took matters into your own hands. I need to hear from you first tonight on this. What are we talking about? What's going on?
We're just not teaching in the schools no more. They're just not teaching in the schools no more. School has become a political platform, and they're doing everything except for teaching. They prepare them for tests, and they do that poorly, right? You go in the classroom, and it's so much focus on trauma-informed care and social-emotional development and conflict resolution. They're doing all of this in the school system. The teachers got so much training on all these other things that they don't have time to teach the kids how to do basic math and how to read. I sat in the classroom yesterday, and I was just observing, and it took forever to get the kids to write a sentence, just to get them to write the sentence, because they were more focused on calming them down and keeping them quiet and having them structured and making sure they engage properly than whether or not they could write the sentence.
But this is my question to that Lady Lisha. Does that fall on the teacher? Because to me, I believe that the frontline person, whether it be what happened through COVID and this online teaching fiasco and all of that sort of thing, I believe the frontliners are as much victims of the politics, bureaucracy, and nonsense as the students are. So when I say that, when I see that it necessitates them to take up instructional time to try to get a classroom settled, that bodes normally to classroom size or to areas that they're lacking in. I wouldn't say that that's more so a teacher issue.
No, I'm not saying that it's the teacher issue. It's actually not. As you know, my daughter Brianna quit teaching. She was a teacher for 3 years, and she said, I can't do this anymore. The system is screwed, because they spend more time giving that the level of oversight that they have is very slim. They don't get to choose what their class schedule look like for their kids. They don't get to tailor their lesson plans to what is a better learning system for the children. They have to do whatever the structure that the system gives them. They tell them at 7:45 you do this, at 8:15 you do that, at 9:44 you do this. These teachers' hands are tied.
Shaka, I gotta swing down to you, man, because we've both been in position where we've worked with young people that have needed the programming that we do, because schools have been a part of the systems that have failed in their spaces. And I want to know, when you think about the fact that that's 40% of Baltimore high schools had zero, no school had full math proficiency across the board. 40% had zero proficient, and the top 5 schools that are supposed to be our creme de la creme, out of 809 pupils, had 92 students that tested proficient in math. When you hear those kinds of numbers, what does it say to you as a father, as an advocate, as a leader? What does it say to you?
It says to me that the problem is the same freaking problem we speak about on every single show. For me, it's going back to the household. For me, because there's certain things that you should have, and there's certain things. Again, maybe I'm speaking from a point of privilege. You know, I was reading before I went to school. I was given a love of books before I went to school. So, you know, like, my punishment was you can't read. So you know, it's a little different from me. So and even with my children, I feel like I'm giving them their foundation. I'm giving them their basics, and they're getting specialty stuff when they go to school. You know, but even without that, when they get to the school, as Lisha said, they're not being serviced well because the teachers are hands off time. Listen, I've dated nothing but teachers, and brother, brother, I can tell you, it is bananas what they go through, and they are not allowed to be creative. They are not allowed to interact and meet those kids where those kids are as individuals. It's literally the pilgrims have come in to save the savages, and here's what we want you to do. We want you to do this like we did in the school out in Colorado somewhere. We want you to do this, and we want you to do that, we want you to do this, and if you don't do it, you as a teacher, you're going to be penalized. Your record is going to be smeared. You're going to be held on, and Lord help them if they went through BCTR. Lord help them if they went through one of those programs, because now you're a slave. So it's hard, man. It's really hard. But for me, if they had a foundation, it would make that side a lot easier. But the teachers have it hard. The school system needs to be turned upside of its head.
Brianna, if you on here flying with us tonight, I would love to get your perspective as a former classroom teacher. Can you send a link to my daughter and see if we can get her on here? I want to read this to you because many people are calling for change at the very top of the school system, right? $445,000 a year due to perks that are buried in the contract is the total compensation packet for our school CEO. And all we've heard year after year after year is about the failings of the school system. Many people are calling for a change in leadership from the very top of the school system down to the school board and its setup. How are we paying somebody almost $500,000 a year, and the system is fair? Because we always look at people. We can look at teachers. We can look at households and all of that sort of thing. But it's obvious that there's a break in the system. You hear $500,000 a year, Lady Lisha, in compensation for the school CEO. Is this good money being spent, or are we throwing good money after bad?
Just throwing it away. But I mean, I'm not saying that we don't need the money in the system, but
no, that's one person's salary.
Yeah,
that's Dr. Sonia Police's salary. Is it a good investment to continue to give her $445,000 a year?
No. If we do an evaluation, you should be fired. This has been consistent. Bro, you should be terminated.
I'm with you. I
definitely want to come to you on that, Shaka. But we got one of my daughters on here, an amazing young woman who is doing great things in her own programming that she is connecting to the school. And I want to bring her on so that we can get her perspective around this. I want to bring on Miss Brianna Wolford. Brianna, are you there?
Hold on, Marv.
We don't have video yet on Brianna. We got my brother who always flies with us, Jason. Thank you for being a loyal listener, man. We may get you on here with some of the topics that we got coming up. He says she gets paid more than the president of the United States. The school to prison pipeline, to put that back up for me. The school to prison pipeline value is being opened wide. Our children are being set up for future failure. I believe they're being set up for failure now. These tests say that they're failing now.
Right now.
We want to go in and get up on. Her voice is so valuable to this conversation. We want to bring to the stage Brianna Wolford. What's up, Bree?
Hey, how are y'all?
We're doing good. We're glad to have you on here. And you have been you were a classroom teacher for 3 years, right?
Yes.
For 3 school years, you were a classroom teacher in the Baltimore public school system. And I want to hear what your perspective is. When you hear about these failings, I want to hear, first of all, about the failings, what your perspective is around the fact that we had 13 high schools that had 0 students proficient. Our top 5 schools only had what equates to about 10% of those schools combined proficient in math. What do you see as some of the reason behind that?
Yes, so I can't speak much for Baltimore City. I came from Anne Arundel County public school systems. But across the board, I have friends that are teachers in Baltimore City, and they're all saying the same thing. And I do believe it's a little bit of the home and the school. They both play a part. If there was more collaborations, if there was more open communication between the parent and the school about the child, then they would get a lot more insight on how to create a better plan for them in order for them to learn best so better. But a lot of parents think that, oh, I'm sending my kid to school, it's your job to do that. And a lot of school systems are not taking into consideration that these parents are busy and they have to work. So that's one of the things that they've been talking about in the school systems, but they haven't really been doing much about it.
I hear her teacher perspective in there. She wants more involvement from the home, and I think that's something that across the board we need to have. As you hear about calls from the top, right? As you hear about calls for change at the very top, that Dr. Sonja Santelises has had, I believe, 4 or 5 years in that seat as school CEO. Shock, let me come to you, man, because you take no tea for the fever, and you're gonna tell it like it is. She's had about 4 or 5 years in that seat as school CEO. And we continue year after year. There's always something that's saying that there's a problem with school from administration down. What do we need to do about this?
We need to let that sister go on and find something better for herself. Um,
Well, I don't know if she's gonna find better money after this.
listen. I'm speaking whatever. Like whatever. This ain't it, right? This ain't it. This ain't a good look for her. This ain't a good look for us. It's not a good look for our children. And every year it's somebody else's fault. Every single year it's somebody else's fault. And nah, these numbers right here, these are the type of numbers. Put these numbers in any job. Put these numbers in any situation, and you are fired. You're fired. Any situation, you're done. No matter what your intentions are, no matter how much you love the kids and the family, doesn't matter. You failed. You're failing our children. And the fact that most of our kids can't sign their name, they can't sign their name. They damn near writing like this. It's like what are you doing? Right? So it's a lot of things need to change and need to change from up top so that everything else can, it rolls downhill, y'all. It rolls downhill. Gravity's a thing.
Brianna, I want to give you the final say, even though your tenure was in Anne Arundel County school system. We're going to transition topics, but I want to give you the final say. When we're talking about what's needed in order to be successful, we know we need more strength from the homes participating in the schools. But from a systematic perspective, when you hear that there is a CEO that's making $445,000 a year, and there's repeated failing after failing after failing after failing every year, there's some major national news story about the failing of this system. What do you think needs to happen from the mind of an educator?
I think, well, hearing about it, it's really sad. I know a lot of teachers, they are currently, me as well, have left because they're suffering from burnout. So it's the lack of support that's there for us in order for us to give the children the best that they need as far as education. Whether that's financially, mentally, health and wellness, I feel like they need to do a better job taking care of their staff and providing more support for their staff in order for us to create the best plan for each child for them to be able to receive education.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. Listen, y'all, we have got to stay on top of this story. We've got to stay on top of this system. There's some major changes that need to happen. And I'm not just talking in individuals. I've never been one to beat the drum for somebody to lose their livelihood, but we are literally putting our students and our children into a broken system. Lady Lisha, you got the church finger up. I think you might have something you want to share quickly.
Now, I'm curious of whether or not we can still blame COVID for this. Because the kids that have not been in school during that course of time in COVID, they never fully adapt to coming back to classes. Can we still blame COVID for this?
I believe that it would be some reasonable measure of impact, but the number is so massive, right? And then when you incorporate the fact that you got 10% of our quote unquote top 5 schools, which one of the things I dislike about Baltimore is that we have composite scores. Instead of having to choose a school choice system, we have a composite score system that happens to group students that do better in one place and groups that students that don't do as well in another place. When you put those cultures and those populations together, one can actually elevate the other. So that's a whole nother pet peeve, a whole nother story, a whole nother show of mine. And I can have the conversation because I said before, all but one of my children, because he went to Maryland School for the Deaf, are graduates of Baltimore City High Schools. But we got to transition, y'all. We set this thing up to talk about 3 topics tonight. So we got to move on. But we'll bring it back and circle it back. Thank you so much for being with us, Brianna. I love you. And thank you so much for sharing your much valued perspectives.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
All right, y'all. Being reported in the local news, CBS News Baltimore. We might not need to do 3 stories, y'all, because I wasn't done with that. I want to chew on that a little bit more. CBS News Baltimore is reporting about the Northwest Baltimore residents that are in objection to the bike lanes. And y'all see my man hat that he got on. He's in those circles. So we're going to talk from a very informed perspective. Kwiesi Mtume, former Councilman Lawrence Bell, and the residents of the Gwynns Falls Community have put up an objection to having bike lanes put on Gwynns Falls. If you know anything about Gwynns Falls, it's a haven for car accidents already, y'all. It's a haven for car accidents. Car accidents happen up there like it ain't nobody's business. But one of the things, I was listening to C4 and Brian Lehman this morning, and I caught Nick Mosby on there, and he was talking about how, C4 brought to Nick Mosby's attention that Bikemore literally said that the previous administration made promises of a certain amount of mileage in certain areas of bike lanes. But Nick is saying that 9 times out of 10, that was the administration promising without speaking to the people who was in those, who live in those areas. And do we acquiesce to one community, which is our community of cyclists, right? Because the conversation I used to hear, Shaka, and I want you to jump right on this. Conversation I used to hear was to encourage more people or less people to drive and more people to bike. But now it sounds like it's the cycling community being, forgive me for the term, catered to, and to some believing at the expense of the residents of these communities. So Shaka, I want to go straight to you because you've got insight and inside information on it. Talk to us about these bike lanes.
Well, this is a weird conversation to have because there is no bike lanes on Gwynns Falls. There's not going to be bike lanes on Gwynns Falls. So what's going on? So Safe Streets is under the Safe Street bill. There was supposed to be some infrastructure for bikes according to, and this is just in general. It's based off of amount of traffic, speed, cars, all that. So that was supposed to happen. That got shut down. That bank got shut down because of a loud minority in Gwynns Falls. So that happened. So what's going on now is there's a parking that they're putting. There's a park. If you go on Gwynns Falls, you don't have 2 lanes of traffic. You have that 1.5 of whatever. So what's going on? What they're objecting to is parking lanes. There is no biking lanes. There's parking lanes. Hold on. There's parking lanes with a 2 feet buffer for them to open their doors. There is no bike lanes. Bike lanes are 5 feet with an extra 3 feet of buffer. That's not happening. There are no bike lanes on Gwynns Falls. There will be no bike lanes on Gwynns Falls.
Well, I believe that the bike lanes aren't coming because of the resident objection. But what they were saying is that that was one of the things that it was going to contribute to already having limitations of parking and things of that nature. So go and talk to us, though. Spit your stuff, bro.
What I'm saying is that conversation is not a conversation. There are no bike lanes coming.
So let's take it out.
There are no bike lanes coming.
All right, let's take it out of the context of that particular community and kind of look at the broader conversation around. You have the community of people who cycle in Baltimore, which are really a minority, right? That
no,
it seems as though
no. It's really not a minority, Mark. But again, this is not the real conversation. Like this is a pseudo conversation. This is the problem with the conversation. People with no skin in the game start to have skin in the game because the conversation starts to get skewed. So the real conversation that people are having an issue with is the way things, their perception of the way things transpire, right? Of how things happen. Not really what's happening, because if you look at the numbers, there's a massive amount of people. Matter of fact, these things happen because of 600 signatures over here. There was 65 community meetings. Did you show up? No. Hell, I didn't even show up. But I'm aware there were 65 meetings, right? But there were 65 meetings. So what I'm saying is the conversation is not about cars and bikes, y'all. That is not the conversation. If any of us are having a conversation about cars versus bikes, we're wrong. That is not the conversation, because it's about safety. So for instance, if Safe Streets is totally uplifted and thrown away, that gets rid of speed bumps. That gets rid of traffic. It's not about bikes, y'all. It's not about bikes. So we shouldn't. So what I'm saying, whatever you feel, the conversation is not either bikes or cars. That's not what we are. That's not the legitimate conversation.
I have never seen any cyclists coming down Park Circle and Park Heights. Yet there are bike lanes.
What?
I have never seen.
I lead rides up and down there. I lead those rides. It happens. So again, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of actions, right? Or whatever. So what I'm saying is, just because you don't see it, don't mean it don't happen. It happens.
What I'm saying is that they're strategically placing bike lanes in specific areas for a reason. Okay.
Well, the promise what I heard was the promise.
This is
mileage of bike lanes, and they tried to fulfill where they said that they would put this amount of miles. This is what I read, right? Where they would.
No, but they're reading it from people who are adverse against it. Go to the website.
It ain't for you, Shaka. What I'm trying to say.
No, listen.
I know you're a cyclist, but they not putting.
I'm a citizen of Baltimore. That's what I'm doing. I'm just not. I'm the reason I'm involved in this conversation is because I'm not anti-car. I'm telling bike people who are upset at all this. Relax. We are not traffic. We are part of traffic. So I'm the wrong one on either side to be like, hey, no, I'm saying everybody relax.
I don't think it's
relax.
I think it's about identification.
I think, but I did it.
It's not. Listen, before anyone in this city gave a damn about bikes, I started an organization because Black people were being disenfranchised in the bike community. Because we hold on.
Never did nothing for Black people. No, they ain't put no bike lanes in for Black people.
Listen,
what I'm saying.
Listen, this is you're missing my point. This is why I do the work I do. So watch this. Do you know that Sandtown? Do you know that Sandtown was one of the first communities to sign on to it? Sandtown.
I did.
All right. So because again, people, it's unsafe to ride from Sandtown to downtown. It's unsafe to ride from Sandtown to Druid Hill. It's unsafe. It's unsafe. And again, I'm the last person to say get rid of we can't get rid of cars. And no, but listen, there is a logic, there is a reason to have safer transportation for bikes, yo. And it's not about Shaka.
I understand that, Shaka, but let me ask this question. What is the rate of bike accidents in Sandtown? Because the last time I heard somebody getting hit by hit on a bike, it was in Mount Washington. The last couple of times I heard it was in Mount Washington.
Lisha, if you ride a bike through Sandtown all the time, you would want some type of protection.
I didn't say that. I'm not saying that.
So listen.
I'm not saying that.
Listen, what I'm saying it's not about the accidents. It's about the potential and also the safety. I don't feel. Listen, I commuted for 7 years. 7 years I commuted through Sandtown. It was always a dice roll, sis. Always a dice roll. 7 years. So what I'm saying is, it's a place for it. It's a space for it. Do we do it everywhere for everything? Hell no. But let's not have the conversation because you don't think it's going on. It's going on. People are being
All
affected.
right. Well, we got this little thing. My daughter said, Pastor leaving is hilarious. We got this little thing we do. When you get the conversation going between the white two parties, you just duck out and let them have it. I knew that this would be kind of turned up because Shaka is an avid biker, and I knew he would be advocating for his community.
But I'm an avid commuter also. It's not about biking.
Well, I
It's
think,
about
but
also
let me say that
commuting.
though. Let me say that though. I think we all are avid commuters, regardless of what our mode of transportation is. But I think that is, for Lady Lisha to say that she don't see people using the bike lanes on Park Circle, and you to say you lead rides. Those rides are not daily commuting, which is the argument. I do know for a fact that the argument for these bike lanes to provide safety ain't about pack riding and events. It's about daily
No,
commuting. And daily bike commuting
brother,
ain't happening in those communities.
brother, maybe it's not happening because again, it's number one, that's not true because again, I can listen with all due respect, yo. With all due respect, yo. Like, how many people do you need to be riding for it to be safety? Right?
Well,
Like,
so let me
like,
answer your question. You asked me a question, let me answer it. I believe that in order for there to be a need for bike lanes, based on commuting, there should be X amount. We set buses and bus routes according to how much frequency of use there is. We set
that,
traffic
Mark,
lanes.
that's true. But
Let me
that's what
finish.
that
Let
is.
me finish. We set traffic lanes according to the frequency of use. And the reality of it is, a lot of the communities that aren't using these lanes for regular commuting are the ones that's feeling infringed upon. But we got to move the conversation, y'all. Maybe we can't do 3 conversations no more. We ain't going to do it, but thank y'all. I knew that was going to be a good one. I just sent the link to my brother, Jason Rodriguez. Jason, check your phone or your phones. You got more than one. Pop in here because we about to have a conversation that I believe is really going to interest you. And this is another one of those stories, y'all, that made national news. I think we're gonna stick to 2 conversations from now on because it's hard to let these things go right when they get active and juicy. Tag somebody in the comments, bring somebody on because we all heard of the young lady Pava Marie Lapierre, who was found bludgeoned to death Monday as police have finally captured the young man that did it. We're not here to recycle or resurface that story. This story literally took a twist and a turn that we would not want to see that it take when we found out that just a week ago, the perpetrator of this crime broke into a home where a couple was with their 5-year-old child. He tied both of the people up, raped the young woman, cut both of their throats, and set the people on fire in front of the 5-year-old. And the only thing that was reported by the media, by the police department, was an arson. There was not the level of priority and things that we see or have seen from what happened with Pava. Okay. Now, that's not an indictment against a young lady who's been married or her family's cry for justice. But Baltimore City Police Department seems to continue to have a different approach according to what zip code it is to how they report and how they respond to crime. I need to can we get my man DJ J Rod up here? Shaka, I need you in on this. And Jay, I want to yield to you on this because being in, whether it be the work that you've done around the plains and being an avid voice on radio and all of that, you have not hesitated to call out the inequity that we've seen in policing and how we've seen policing approached in Black communities and disenfranchised communities. I want to hear from you first tonight on this story where it's obvious. Let me give y'all the quote from our city council president. I was proud of Nick Mosby this morning because Nick Mosby didn't take no tea for the fever, y'all. Nick Mosby said there appears to be a different approach to public safety according to zip codes. If that was Bolton Hill, Fells Point, or Mount Vernon, it would have been all over everywhere. But because it was in a poor neighborhood, it was treated differently. Jason Rodriguez, thank you for co-piloting and flying with us tonight, man. Talk to me, man. This whole narrative that continues about how policing happens right at the point in time where there's a confirming of a new police commissioner. And I know Commissioner Worley, I think he's a good man, right? But being a good man and being the right man can be different things. I'm not saying that about him, but I want to hear from you tonight. When you hear this level of gross inequity, it's not even hidden. This could have saved the young lady from downtown Baltimore's life if the community was put on alert to who this young man was and the heinous nature of his crimes. I need to hear from you, DJ J. Rod.
We've been talking about this for a while. And can everybody hear me, by the way?
Absolutely. You sound
We've
great.
been talking about this for a while, especially on Patrick Henderson's Meet the People radio show. We actually, at one time, we were asking for it to be published in response to response times. We wanted to know what response times was because we had an incident in Irvington where there was a home invasion. And it took like hours for the police to even come respond to a home invasion. But we knew that it wouldn't have took that long to respond to a home invasion in Roland Park, in Canton, and some of these other neighborhoods. So we've been asking for the police department for quite some time to publish the response times for every neighborhood so that we could clearly see these inequities. And unfortunately, prior police commissioners, I'm hoping that maybe Richard Worley will step up and do the right thing and publish the response times, at least make that public, and try to address these concerns when it comes to how the police respond to our community versus their community. And as far as this whole incident, like with the Jason Bigsley thing that just, went down, you see that in some cases reward money is higher, the response is higher, the joint commitments are greater. So you get the marshals, you get everybody going out, the FBI, everybody going out, aggressively looking for someone. But when it comes to a mass shooting, you saw that they denied, according to the report, they denied a joint effort between Anne Arundel County and Baltimore City. You saw that they actually rejected and pushed away any notion of having a joint effort. And you didn't see that aggression, 30 people shot, 2 people killed. You didn't see that type of aggressive posture from the police department. But again, one person involving, again, someone from a more affluent community, it's all hands on deck, a full out response in reference to policing is concerned. So there's definitely some bias and some discrimination going on.
So, Jason, when you're asking for the numbers, what is the response? Like, what are they saying when you ask for the numbers? I know you haven't gotten it, but what are they saying in interim or whatever?
So in the beginning, I remember the first conversation actually had came from Commissioner Harrison when he first came into office, and he told the community that they were going to work on trying to come up with a way to report response times. We never heard anything during this whole administration in reference to following up on that. He never followed up on it, even though I asked him several times. But I always asked him about the response times and always asked him about the aerial surveillance program. Just being a voice and speaking up and doing the right thing in reference to the aerial surveillance program. And I couldn't get no response from him in reference to that.
It was one of the staples of the story was who she was, what she did for a living, tech this and all of that sort of thing. And, for me, I believe one of the biggest problems with murder in Baltimore is that murder is classified and categorized and how it's prioritized. And some of the things that I've seen, whether it be the press conference and the things that don't happen in every single murder, to me, it went far beyond them not reporting what happened a week ago, all the way up and through the fact that there was this outcry as though every life that's involved in a murder or in crime in Baltimore does not matter the same or to the same level. Lady Lisha, let me talk to you because, the female victim in both cases was treated really, really, really harshly. And as a lady who is expecting the people who say public safety is their priority to deliver on that promise, there's so many failings in this. I want to hear from you about how you hearing about all of these different areas where they failed How does that land on somebody like you that's a tax-paying Baltimore City resident?
So sadly, I don't expect any different. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that they shouldn't that it should be equal. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be equal. I'm saying that the reality is I don't expect Baltimore City Police to protect me. I've been stereotyped sitting in front of my own house because I was a Black person in a nice neighborhood in a car at night. You know what I mean? Like, police have stereotyped me and harassed me as a tax-paying citizen, right? So why would I expect the system that has openly oppressed us to be the thing that protects us? I don't expect different. I'm not saying that it's okay, that it's right, that they can continue on, but I'm not looking to them to be my protection. I'm really not. I'm looking to y'all. I'm looking to y'all to do this.
Shaka, let me talk to you real quick, man. When you see, and you know, if I'm not mistaken, both of the crimes were in some way adjacent to the community where you live, and literally,
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. Isn't it? It was one of them? I
both
think
of
was
them,
right.
both of
That
the
right down the street. Yeah.
The one
So
one early in the week, and then the one yesterday was really right around the corner from
yeah,
me. So
yeah.
when you hear about this, and you still see after Freddie Gray, after all of this, you see this inequity and how these communities are responded to, how crime is reported, and how it literally, I believe, I want to go as far as to say, literally, this ineptitude in reporting cost this young lady her life.
So I'll say this. I have personal experience from this because so where I live now is I live right where they start caring, literally. And it was and Jay, it was intentional. I literally moved. I wanted to be downtown. I wanted to be around my people, but I didn't want. You know what I mean? So I said, let me move right. So I'm literally right where they start caring, right where the first dog park is. That's where I'm at, right? So, but I live 3 blocks down, which is a whole different world. 3 blocks, 3 blocks down, and 1 block over is where I live. And I would constantly, consistently be making phone calls to the point where I built a relationship with an officer, and I would call him personally. Hey, yo, bro, you know what I mean? Like, can you can you come get my can you come clear my block up? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? I can hear what they selling in my bed. Like, they so loud, they in my living room, bro. Like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Someone just got shot. They would never. They wouldn't show up. I call Eric Costello. I've had his chief of staff come to my house and we walk the block. They do not show up. But I have a friend who lived in Bolton Hill. And bro, when I went to see her, so I swear to God, if I stood on that corner too long without a little cute dog, somebody rolling up, you okay? That's the little patrol cars rolling up with the light. You know what I mean? And it's real. It is really real. They do not show up. One time I made a phone call and it was a whole work shift. Literally 8 hours, no one showed up. And then I called again, and I'm like, bro, it's done. They gone. What do you mean? They gone. You know, so it's real. It's really real.
Let me ask you this, Jason. Where is the quote unquote activism community around gross inequities like this and things in the public sphere and public sector? Because we know that if it comes down to police officers shooting a black man or something like that, we got protests. But to me, that's when it's way too late. That's when the inequity in policing has come all the way to a head, right? And we start to see life loss. But it's these subtle instances, and this ain't so subtle. And the only reason why it's not subtle is because it wound up costing somebody their life in downtown Baltimore. Where is the voices in Baltimore who should be speaking up on this?
I'm not sure, but I know for our organization, People Empowered by the Struggle, we just had a conversation on Monday with the governor's office, actually pertaining to something just like this, because there's something going on with the judiciary. There's something going on with the public safety. There's something going on with juvenile services that are not working right. You have, Mr. Jackson, who was charged with an illegal gun, extended clip in a school, ends up in Brooklyn Park. He's on home monitor, ends up in Brooklyn Park in a mass shooting. How does that happen? This gentleman had a 30-year sentence, according to online. He was sentenced with a convicted attempted rape. Also added, he was supposed to be serving 16 years. He just got out just recently, and they put him on 5-year probation. How do these mistakes happen? And I know that some of it, you have to put some of the blame on us, because when it's time for elections and we get to that judge part with all the judges on there, we just go check, and don't even hold any of the judges accountable. But we just had a conversation with the governor's office, and I encourage every organization should be calling the governor's office and having this conversation as to what's going on with the public safety, what's going on with the judiciary, what's going on in reference to the Department of Juvenile Services, that in many cases are not providing the safety they're supposed to be providing in the community. We have children that are being released either to end up committing more crimes or end up being killed in the process, like the 12-year-old from Westport. He was on a monitor. There's a 17-year-old. We spoke to the mother. She said, I basically paid for a monitoring system for my child to be killed. When I asked the judge to keep him, do not send him home, I have no control of him. So we're having these conversations. More of us need to be having the conversations with the public safety and the governor's office.
It's impossible to have this conversation without talking about the upcoming election, because, we do have an election upcoming, right? And where we may, for the first time in years, see the kinds of reductions that were promised in the first year of Brandon Scott's tenure as mayor. We might see that this year, right? And Sheila Dixon has had her issues in the past, and it looks like it could come down to a battle between those two. We ain't seen Theroux stick his head out yet, and I don't know if the 25 people, I told y'all, stay home. Y'all 23, 24 other folks, stay home with your 300 vote getting south. Stay home. No symbolic. I'm gonna keep saying it every time we talk about it. But Jay, while I got you here, and I do want to spin it around the cycle, we got about 5 minutes left to show. So try to give it to me as quick as you can. With the upcoming election, what are our options here? What are our options? Because while we're seeing some decline, this uptick in juvenile violence and the apparent breakdown in so many of these juvenile systems. Talk to me, Jay. What are our options here when it comes down to this upcoming election?
Well, I think that the only reason why we don't see the numbers the way that they are is because in some cases, a lot of these children, from my understanding, are using ghost guns, and the ghost guns are fallible. They are not shooting like they're supposed to. They're not accurate. They jam up. There's all kinds of things, from my understanding, from the young people that we speak to in the streets. So we could be up in those numbers. But I think that we still have to let this play out. There's a candidate. There's several candidates. I can't speak for all the ones you were talking about, the 300 votes, but I know that there's a candidate that's looking at coming out. And I have to say Yolanda Pulley, that's really talking about working with the people, holding things accountable, being tough on crime, doing the things that are necessary to really engage these streets, taking the handcuffs off of some of these agencies and allowing some of these agencies to do the work. That's really where the problem is. Most of the people that we speak to inside of City Hall say, man, I would be able to do more if some cases I wasn't being micromanaged.
Get us an interview with Yolanda, man. Get Yolanda on the show one night for us.
Okay.
Shaka, I need to hear from you, man. We got an election coming up, and I'm not one that's going to ever endorse candidates or whatever. I'm all for voter education. But when you see what we have before us right now, and Jason, let me tell you, one of the things that really grinds my gears is they tied the police's hands.
Correct.
In their ability to engage and deal with juveniles, and then want to cite a reduction in juvenile crime.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right. Right.
Even
with homeless services, just to throw this out there, there's somebody that's just been let go, but it took so long for the person in homeless services to be let go. Why did it take so long when you knew it was ineffective? You weren't engaging the community correctly, the homeless community correctly. And this is what I mean about micromanaging, and in some cases upholding and protecting people that some cases have no clue, like Santa Lisa's. If you this just didn't happen during COVID. The issue with Santa Lisa's has been going on since she came
Even
in.
her response to COVID, I had an issue with. But let me get around this, Robin.
Right.
Come on, Shaka, give me what you got, man.
Oh man, no, I don't know, man. Listen, man, you gotta stop hamstringing people, man. You gotta let parents parent, and you gotta let the police, man. You know. Listen, I just saw a Facebook post today from a dude who's a sure enough. He's one of the dudes I would call when it got thick. Like I don't know, like I would like he was my go-to if it got crouchy. He's on Facebook like, yo, these kids are wilding. Ain't nobody holding them accountable. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? He like, yo, no, I did what I did, knowing that there was a consequence. But like, yo, they out here wilding. You know, and so even people who are about that life, like, yo, this is a little different. This is crazy. So I feel like parents need to be able to parent. You know, don't tell me don't, you know, like parents need to be able to parent and there needs to be some accountability. You know, there needs to be some deterrence, you know. So yeah, like
Lady,
yeah.
Lisha, bring us home. You hear about this? We got an election coming up. Talk to the people.
You know what? I'm tired of being ignorant. Period. As a community member, right? We don't know enough. So if I got to take it upon myself to form some type of group or coalition where we start educating ourselves in the community, like that's what I'm gonna do. So I want to say, you know, Brandon doing this and Sheila going to do that, and I don't know yet, but we gonna find out.
Well, the one thing I do want to say in response to that, Lady Lisha, there are a lot of good organizations out here that would love to have your mind. You're a brilliant young woman. Would love to have your thoughts as a part of what they're already doing, and they will inform and educate you. Y'all, this is Baltimore, the city that I love. I ain't going nowhere. I plan on being here. But these voices that you hear on this show are voices that are people who live here, vote here, spend money here. We do everything right here. And I ain't talking about in some surrounding county. We are Baltimore City residents. We vote here. We worship here. We do it all right here. We lead movements right here to make things better. That's the difference in the chop shop and a lot of other people that you see having conversations. So I need y'all to make sure that you continue to tune into this show. I want to thank our co-pilot today, J-Rod. We might be bringing you on, man. We might need to find out what your schedule look like, brother, because you always bring great insights. Lady Lisha, Miss Hot Take, thank you so much for the value that you add to these conversations. Y'all, I don't think we're going through 3 topics no more because we could have, you know, we could have left the bike thing off and had more time on the other two. Not that the bike thing ain't.
No.
You're right.
Yeah, we could have had
You're
more time,
right.
you know.
You're
And
right.
my right hand, my left hand, my main man, who's been literally the pilot and let me sit in the passenger seat for the last 3+ years. We've been doing this, y'all, and we ain't going nowhere. So make sure that you continue to tune in. As I always say, trust God. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean out to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Be the change that you want to see. If there's a problem in your community, don't leave. Don't be a part of this black flight that's happening in Baltimore, white flight, or any other flight. Put your foot 10 toes down and be the change that you need to see, you desire to see, and you want to see. And above and beyond everything else, always remember that we can be more. Thank you. See you next week.